guys, the Huntsman here. So today we're going to go over breaking down an AR-15. Maybe your first time, you may have done it a couple times and forgot how or had some trouble. So first thing you want to do is make sure that the firearm is clear. As with any firearm, you always want to make sure it's clear before you do any work on it or even handle it. Unless you're out at the range and you know for a fact that you put one in it. So, alright, let's get started. So, first thing you want to do is drop your bolt. Let's try that again. First thing you want to do is drop your bolt. I apologize, my camera is being a little funky today. Now you have on the left side, you have two takedown pins. It's a little hard to see, but you have one right here, and then you have one in the front where the top hinges to the bottom and the front side. I never usually take down this front takedown pin unless I need the lower off from the upper completely for whatever reason. It's a lot easier to clean your AR if you just pop the back one and give it a little push. Sometimes they're in there pretty tight. You might need to take a small punch to them or something. If they're in too tight, you know, there's always gunsmiths that are willing to help. So you pop that back pin and then you pull it until it stops. That'll release your upper. So your upper is going to sit like this on your lower. Now what you do is you pull your charging handle. Now you grab your bolt, slide your bolt out. Now here's a little trick with the charging handle. You slide out and it's going to catch, and then you drop down a little bit and your charging handle will slide right out. Now your upper is disassembled as much as you're going to get it. You can clean the barrel from this point. I always just pin it back together and set it off to the side unless I'm cleaning the barrel. Usually, you know, it just kind of keeps it tucked to the side. Now I'm going to teach you guys how to disassemble. Excuse me. Now I'm going to teach you guys how to disassemble the bolt. So what you're going to need is either a knife or a toothpick. I usually use a toothpick. So let me grab one real quick. Now, if you have your bolt facing forward, which usually it is in the firearm, it should be anyway, you want it to run properly. On the left side, you're going to see this little pin. You're going to take this little pin, and I guess I don't need a toothpick. You can use your nail, you can use your knife, you can use, like I said, a toothpick, and you're going to pull that pin out. And what that pin does is it holds your firing pin from going too far forward or going too far back. And then you tip it back, and your firing pin drops out. Be careful, you don't want to bang it up too much. This firing pin clearly needs to be cleaned while I have this apart. Your next step is to take your bolt and push it back. Now, you guys just saw that top flat pin move. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn that pin sideways, like so. Once that's turned sideways, that pin, with a little fan dangling, will come right out. And then your bolt will slide out. Now there's your bolt carrier group, and there's your bolt. Now if you want to, you can take this extractor off, which I actually have a friend that has a bad extractor on his, so I'm going to take this extractor out and show him as well what I think's going on with his firearm. But there's a small pin, and you might have to give it a little push, and you push that extractor down, and you slide that catch pin out, and then your extractor slides right out. And be careful because there is sometimes a spring, this one has a rubber boot on it. And if you lose that, your extractor is not going to work right. So now I'm going to go over reassembly with you guys. So reassemble is pretty easy once you got everything wiped down, which I don't actually have time to do tonight, but I will be ripping this firearm back down again to clean it all. So you put your extractor in, make sure it's sitting right, push it down just a little bit, pop that pin back into place, like so. Release the extractor, just kind of make sure that it's not hung up at all. Let's get a little bounce to it. Then you take your bolt. I've always been told you'll see little grooves on your bolt rings, your gas rings. I've always been told to not let them line up. Some people say it doesn't bother anything. Other people say that it'll blow it up. I've just always gone by the route of safer is better. So better safe than sorry. So I always just kind of make sure that they're not sitting all grouped in together. So, and then, so you always want your extractor arm to the right side of the bolt. So just remember that. And also there's only one way that this flat top pin will go back in. It won't go through the bottom. It will only go through the top. So you line up your holes. That's going to be hard, a little hard to see, but you line up your holes. You drop your pin in, your bolt pin. Sorry, my hands are in the way. You drop that bolt pin in. Then you turn it sideways. So it should look like that. And then you just drag your bolt forward. And that locks that into place. You okay, bub? Then you drop your firing pin in. So you can go through the bottom like this if you can get it right, or some people go in through the back side, whatever works for you. But then you just let that firing pin drop in. Then sometimes this cotter pin doesn't like to go in good, but your cotter pin goes into the left side. And sometimes you might have to mess with that a little bit. But once you get it just right, she'll slide right back into place eventually. Might have to play with it all. It sits on the lip of that firing pin. There it is. And that sits in there nice and flush. Almost flush. And you'll see the other ends come through on the other side. Right there. So, alright. Now it's time to put it back in the AR. So, you've wiped everything down. You've ran the rod down your AR. So, what you do, exact reverse order, is you put your charging handle in. Now you want to put it in just a little ways down the bolt carrier group, and there's a sweet spot. And then you pick it up. So it won't go in down the charging slot. So it'll go until you get that sweet spot. And then you lift up. What I do is put it about 3/4 of the way in. Then you slide your bolt in. And then it all slides right in together. Drop it down. Pop your bottom pin. Oh. Pop your bottom pin in. And then give it a rack just to make sure the bolt's going to function properly. And then you're done. And that's assembling and disassembling an AR. Thank you guys for joining today. Sorry it was such a quick video. If need be, feel free to message me. I can get into further detail if you guys need any more help. Whatever it may be. So, thank you guys for joining. This is Huntsman32. Have a great day, guys.